All right, Jasmine Crockett has announced her 2026 run for the Texas Senate, and she thinks she can turn Texas blue. Obviously, I think otherwise, but let's check this out, and I'll get into some of the numbers of previous election cycles and why I think she has no chance. Let's get going here.
Jasmine Crockett officially throwing her hat into the 2026 Texas Senate race with hopes of turning the deep red state blue.
Turning Texas blue is what I want to talk to y'all about today. Now, there are those that say, ain't no way, we done tried it 50 kinds of ways. Let me be clear, y'all ain't never tried it the JC way. We used to telling us what I can't do, but they have no idea what Crockett's crew will do.
First of all, do you think somebody who's talking like that has a shot at winning the Senate race? Here in the state of Texas, we done tried 50 times. You need to try to be more articulate first. And I've heard it be more articulate in other videos, in interviews.
Joining me now is senior writer for the Washington Examiner and Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, I think we know what the Crockett crew would do. But is that what a red state like Texas wants? A state that Donald Trump won by 13 percentage points last year.
I have a feeling the answer is no, Todd. I mean, this is an early Christmas gift for the Republican Party. I mean, whether you're John Cornyn, Ken Paxton, Wesley Hunt, as far as who her opponent will be from the GOP side, either way, you're looking at anywhere from a 10 to 15, maybe even 20-point victory for the GOP in Texas. And I don't even think that Crockett has any illusions of herself winning this race. I mean, this is a cartoon character who has mocked, for example, the sitting governor of Texas, who was paralyzed from the waist down. She called him Governor Hot Wheels in a speech one time. She openly wished for Elon Musk to be, quote, taken out. She called President Trump a Hitler wannabe. And of course, other cable news networks book her more than any other Democratic lawmaker just for that kind of provocative soundbite. So she's going to run, she's going to lose, and then most likely make the leap to television, whether it be the next co-host of The View, a permanent panelist on Abby Phillips' ridiculous CNN primetime show, or maybe Jen Psaki's co-host on MSNBC. This is an unserious candidate who values attention to herself more than anything else, guys. And that's what this run is all about. Not to win, just for the attention she's going to get for the next year. And boy, it's already coming, Carly and Todd.
Yeah. You mentioned the celebration by Republicans. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who you mentioned as well, saying Jasmine Crockett about to learn the hard way that most Texans are very different from her district, her base, and her values. She'll be pummeled for her progressive socialist agenda and get crushed by the Republican nominee for Senate. Texas AG Ken Paxton saying crazy Jasmine Crockett is going to lose by double digits in the general. Joe, mark my words, I don't know if she even makes it to the general. She's going up against a pastor in Texas in the primary on the Democratic side. Pastors have a tendency to do well in the Lone Star State. Back here in the tri-state, New York City mayoral-elect Zohran Mamdani has a...
Yeah, this will not be another 2018 situation with jumping jack flat Beto O'Rourke. This will not be one of those where he got within 200,000 votes but still lost the Senate race. And by the way, Governor Abbott still blew out his opponent that year. So it was a one-off in that race, and that will not be the case here. But she says she doesn't need voters. She doesn't need Trump voters in the state of Texas to win her race.
Make voters who previously voted for Trump, particularly given that you have been an outspoken critic and he has inserted himself. Just take your campaign video as is. He has inserted himself at every turn when it comes to your commentary. How will you convert those who are supportive of him to voters for you?
Yeah, I don't know that we'll necessarily convert all of Trump's supporters. That's not our goal.
Do you need to?
Our goal is to definitely talk to people. No, we don't. We don't need to. Our goal is to make sure that we can engage people that historically have not been talked to, because there's so many people that get ignored, specifically in the state of Texas. Listen, the state of Texas is 61% people of color. We have a lot of good folk that we can talk to. We know that when Beto came really close, Beto, who is a progressive, we know that he got 65% of the Latino vote. So what did they do after that? They specifically went after Latinos. We know that he got close to 90% or right there at 90% of the African American vote. So honestly, What we need to do is start talking to the vast majority of Texas. I think my message is very much a mainstream message. I don't know who disagrees with the fact that affordability is a real thing, except for the president, who says it's a Democratic hoax.
Yeah, I knew she brought up Beto and how he's a progressive and he got close to winning the state. But then he went on to lose the governor's race and got destroyed by 10 or 11% back in 2022. And then if you look at previous election cycles in the Senate race after that 2018 situation, it's only gotten worse for Democrats. We'll get into that shortly, but let's check this out right here. I don't believe that somebody who says things like this has a chance to win.
In fact, Ms. Perry, I know your organization, the Heritage Foundation, loves Texas. Ooh, they love Texas. They always sending us some nonsense bills that somehow set this country on the wrong trajectory. They send them to Texas. They send them to Florida. Every deplorable state that we can think about, they usually coming out of y'all's think tank.
Did she call Texas a deplorable state? How is she going to win the state of Texas Senate by calling it deplorable? Essentially, that's what she was doing. But I have some more for you right here. I don't see how this is going to help her.
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at, calm down. Calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized. Miss
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And
yelling.
you don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk
Please calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr.
Order.
Chairman. All right,
Sorry.
Chair,
I don't know why
okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes
Not cute.
Miss Green for 4 minutes and 21 seconds. 4 minutes. Let Miss Green talk, and then.
Yeah. Just make a commercial. Just whoever her opponent is, whether it's Ken Paxton, John Cornyn, Wesley Hunt. Just make if she is the nominee, if she wins the primary, which we don't know yet, but if she is the nominee, just play those all day. Just play her saying some stupid things, acting a fool, and the voters won't go for that. Of course, she'll get. In the general, she'll receive maybe, she'll 3.8 million votes because there are people that vote blue no matter who. But that won't matter. Because if you take a look at 2024, Trump won this state by almost 14%. About 14% he won. A huge historic margin, the most votes in Texas history. Yes, that was a presidential election year, and Ted Cruz did very well. Turnout seems to be higher among in presidential races. But if you look at Ted Cruz against Colin Allred, he won by 900,000 votes, by 9%, in a decisive victory in 2024 for Ted Cruz. So I don't see how she's going to say how it's suddenly going to flip from almost 1 million votes in the last Senate race to Jasmine Crockett somehow making up those votes and saying she doesn't need Trump supporters. When Texas has gotten more red ever since 2018, if you look at every election cycle since then, I don't see how she's going to make up those votes and win against Ken Paxton, John Cornyn, or Wesley Hunt. I think that she'll, like I said, she'll get 3.5-4 million votes, but it'll be a blowout, 10-15%. It'll be about the same margin that Trump won by, because for one, she's too radical. I think she's way too radical for people in the state, and that's not going to bode well for her. Then if you go back to 2020, when John Cornyn had an opponent, Mary M.J. Hagar, he won by 10% and by 1 million votes. And Jasmine Crockett is not going to flip any Trump supporters, well, maybe one or two throughout the state, if that, max. She's not going to flip enough votes, enough Trump supporters to beat her Republican opponent in a red state. If this were some purple state favorite North Carolina, which is it can go either way. It leans red in some cases, and it goes purple and blue in other cases, like governor's race. Or if this is a very purple state like Pennsylvania, then maybe she would have a chance. Maybe. But she might even be too radical for a purple state. But she won't win Texas, and I'm willing to bet money on that. Not much, but because I don't like betting in general. But she'll lose the state easily, and I just want to share that with you, that she had decided to run for the Texas Senate race in 2026, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I'll leave that right there. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.